Hi, it's Trisha Pimentel, your International Living Portugal correspondent. I am happy to be with you here today. Um, so sorry I wasn't in person with all of you who were attending the conference that was scheduled in Los Angeles, but I know that there's been a lot of fun and success with the online version. So that's been fun, but I did miss being out there and having personal contact with folks. But here I am today to give you an update on what it is like here in Portugal. And I made some notes. I don't want to forget to tell you anything. I guess the first thing most serious was Portugal prepared for this, and what about the healthcare system here? And Portugal has been rated by WHO, number 12 in the world. So it has a very good, solid, professional, affordable healthcare system. Having said that, just like everywhere, the demand has been way greater than expected. I don't really, I can't really quite get exact numbers, and the numbers are different even when you look for all the countries around the world. They just seem to be very changeable. I do know that we are on the low side. We are a smaller country, but it seems we have not been hard hit like other countries have been, unfortunately. So that part is good for us, and everything seems to be under control in that respect. And speaking of being under control, that would entail shopping, our stores open, can you find supplies, and so on and so forth. And the answer is yes. We have not been out to do. We started on this really early, actually stocking up in January. And we always kind of keep a little bit of something on hand, but we started adding bit by bit. So we haven't been out for about 10 days or almost 2 weeks to do food shopping. At that time, what we noticed was a little bit lower in the canned food section than normal, and baking supplies. And my husband just baked bread. It smells wonderful in here, by the way. I wish I could deliver that to you. And eggs. Those were the places that were. But that was that day. I have no idea, and I'm not hearing reports from friends of any of that missing or lacking where they are. And I have people up north, people in the Lisbon area, people in the Algarve, which I'll get to in a minute about how I'm staying in touch with all these people. Um, so that part's good. And in terms of can you get around, or is public transport open? Yes, on a more limited basis, of course, than usual, because not everyone is out and traveling about to work and school. You People are out for work if they're in a work service industry, going to a hospital or a clinic or something of that nature, doctor's office, dentist office. Um, so it's available, but on a smaller scale, and that ties into the stay-at-home advisement, just like again everywhere. I think the last time I talked to you, I mentioned that there is the way the system goes here is the president puts out a request to Parliament to ask for a 15-day period of certain rules and regulations to be put in place, and it gets renewed every 15 days. They just renewed it the second time around yesterday, and that entails the stay at home unless you are going to grocery shop or to a doctor appointment or dentist appointment, um, going to work in a service industry, that kind of thing. Uh, Walks are permitted, but not in groups. And I heard someone said down in the Algarve that he's over 70, and the restrictions are slightly more for over 70 or those who have contracted the virus. But as soon as he posted on Facebook that he's not even able to go out for a walk, now somebody put, yes, you can. It's called a hygienic walk. So you go out by yourself in an area where you're distanced from people. So, some rules and regulations are in place like that. I haven't seen there's a very low police presence in general here in Portugal. I've seen one GNR, that's the Guarda Nacional Republicana, kind of a cross between police and a national guard. That's our general, that's the equivalent in essence. When we're out and about, we see it. It looks like GNR car. I've seen one in the last 4, 5 times we've been out, which means over a period of 6 or 7 weeks or so. So I did hear again in the Algarve that they've taken to doing some loudspeakers from cars if they see people congregating outside. This is probably more from a few weeks ago when spring break time was, when people were out on the beaches enjoying all that lovely sunshine, and they were advised to go inside, which is the wise thing to do. So that I've seen and heard about. How are we passing the time with all this? Well, I'm a big reader, and so I've gotten to a couple of great books. And also a big puzzle person, so crossword puzzles, that kind of thing. I love games. And I wrote about this in the Expat Diary. We play backgammon, Scrabble, and chess and things like my husband and I here. I've also found some interesting things online. A friend of mine from Huntington Beach, California, Lynn, wrote to me and said that she found an artsandculture.google.com site, and you can go and look at all the museums in the world. Just go inside and click on the pieces of art and read about them and learn about them. And so that is kind of it. I haven't done that virtual tour yet, but I think that'll be fun. And another thing that I know of is when I was in Riga, Latvia last November for a Women in Travel Summit, one of the freebies that we got was to do a secret city secret city trail. And the founders, incidentally and interestingly, live right here in Portugal, in Lisbon. They're from Amsterdam, I believe, from Holland anyway. And so it's like taking a virtual, it's like doing an outdoor escape room. Well, of course, we can't be outdoors now. And so they've concocted a stay at home in your living room thing. So I actually did one of these. I got so excited about it. I did it for Coimbra. So when we're all back to normal, I'm going to go up and do some testing with that, and get a group of my friends and go and do that one. But there are plenty of things like that that you can do online. Um, I also posted this on my Twitter account. Great travel writer Karen McCann, who had a wonderful post recently about fun things that you can do. So there's a million things that you can find inside and outside your home and office. So speaking also, since we were online with a situation like that, where how to reach out by staying in, is of course all the ways we normally communicate, just like I would be doing uh, any other day from Portugal, talking to people back in California, my daughters. We use WhatsApp, Skype video. What else do we use? Oh, Zoom. We've been doing a lot of Zoom business calls, and I've done a podcast with someone for a retirement website. So yeah, all those ways of reaching out to people. And then there's the reach out. Even though we have our stay-at-home advisement, we've woken up and found a warm milk out from the sheep herd. Our neighbor down the road has given us stuff, and then my husband's made ice cream out of it, and he'll wave to her when she comes by the next day with the sheep and say, "I've got ice cream for you." And our friends who moved here from Indiana, I had them in a video once long ago last summer. A friend, Stacy and Melissa, and their 4 children. They live about an hour and a half away from us now. And they woke up one morning and found a huge basket of fresh eggs from their neighbors' chickens outside on their porch, on their patio. So, and we have a friend here from Chile, Hernan, who constantly is texting saying, "I'm going to such and such a place. Do you need anything? Do you need any fresh vegetables?" So there's always that similar, the spirit of the people here, whether they're expats or the locals. It's a wonderful vibe here in Portugal. Still, there's no sense of panic or fear or anything like that I have detected so far. Um, The extended community, yes. Oh, part of the staying home, when I was talking about only going out for grocery shopping or doctor appointments and stuff, of course, the kids in school, there's been online classes now for weeks, and I'm sure that's going to continue for the long term, for the duration, until we have a little bit of a lifting as we're seeing in other countries, which is some bright news. Our president said the other day, we know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. We just can't see it yet. I don't know if that's just that the Portuguese thing of saying this and then immediately saying, on the other hand, but we know it's there. There's also the optimism in the midst of the, well, we have to deal with the situation as it is now. And speaking of which, again, with the way the situation as it is now, there are some more travel restrictions that are going to be put in place next week during Holy Week for Passover and Holy Week for Christians. So there'll be a prohibition about traveling out of the country during that time by plane. And there's also just recently, as of yesterday, we are not permitted to go to another city that's not part of our district. Excuse me, not our concelho. It's kind of like broken down. Like there's the neighborhood, and then there's the bigger neighborhood, and then the larger area. So it would be like going from one part of California, from Los Angeles. You can't go to Long Beach now, but you can go to Santa Monica, that kind of thing, if that makes sense to anybody out there listening to this. So again, some wise efforts being put in place with, and when I say minimal enforcement, again, and I've mentioned this before, there is a very cooperative spirit among the people here. So there's a general overall willingness to do as expected in order to nip this where it is now and move on to brighter days. And speaking of brighter days and getting back to normal, I just wrote a piece today for the Savvy Retiree, Savvy Traveler area of the publication. And I don't know when it'll be out, but it's about a thermal, what better to do after all this, about a thermal spa and retreat in northern Portugal. It's a wonderful, wonderful place that I found really quite by accident. So I've written about it, and it'll be out pretty soon in print. The point is to take a look around, keep your eyes open, do your armchair traveling, and especially think about when all this is done, a place where you can relax in nature. In what we would call them national parks here in a way, but they call them here natural parks because they're always, obviously, it's lots of mountainside and greenery and forest and lakes and so on. So there are a lot, particularly in the northern part of the country and in the central zone, healing waters here. So file that away for another time, and you'll see. Keep your chin up, stay home, stay rested, keep reading, and play some games and have fun. Take care of yourselves, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.